What is up, YouTube? My name is Evan, and today I've got something pretty cool for you. It is the Fates Collide Delphox. And it's got 140 HP, it's a stage 2 energy retreat, and it has a nice secondary attack in Flickering Flames. It's 40 damage, and we get sleep, which is nice if we really need to kind of stall somebody for a turn. That's a decent secondary attack. But the main attack we're going to be relying on is Storm. It's 3 colorless energy, which makes it very flexible to power up, and it's 20 damage for every energy on every Pokemon in play. Not just both active Pokemon, not just your Pokemon, not your opponent's Pokemon, but both, everybody, both sides of the field. It counts every single energy everywhere. That's pretty impressive. And that means it's very easy to rack up very big hits. And we're going to power this up via Kiawe. Hopefully a turn 1 Kiawe. That's 4 extra energies we'll be able to power into this Storm via Kiawe. So let's say we attach a double colorless energy on turn 1, then preferably to a Fennekin, and then we Kiawe to end our turn. That's already 6 energies. That's 120 damage we put into that Storm on turn 1. Not to mention on the next turn, anything our opponent may have attached adds to that. Let's say they attach 1 energy. That's 140 damage. Then we can attach a double colorless on the next turn, and that's 180 damage right there, or 160 if we only attach a fire. It doesn't particularly matter either way. And God forbid they try to power up with something like Max Elixir or some nonsense like that. They're making this that much faster, that much stronger, that much faster. So it's easy to see where this deck can easily be picking up one-hit KOs. And that's kind of the idea of the deck. We run 2 breaks in, just so that we're not super reliant on our rare candies. And this makes it a little easier to power up extra Delphoxes over time with things like Rescue Stretchers. So we have opted for 2 of those. So it's a good way to evolve on the bench. We've got 4 Fennekin just to try to make sure we've got Delphoxes up as quickly as possible, because that is kind of the name of the game here. Our primary Kiawe target is going to be this Ho-Oh GX we run. You could opt for a second, but really, it's not. We're meaning to attack with Delphox the vast majority of the time, so Ho-Oh's probably going to chill on the bench until we know we can pick up a KO. But that 190 HP makes it pretty bulky, a nice thing to drop energies on with Kiawe. And Kiawe does allow us to Phoenix Burn, which is easily another OHKO against something with 2 prizes, like say a Tapu Lele that you can Kuzma up, something like that. Sacred Fire, its first attack can also set us up for knockouts potentially with Storms. So all in all, a very useful Pokemon to run in here. We also run 1 copy of Turtonator GX, who also has a very bulky 190 HP. He's mainly here so that if we have to, say, Sycamore away some energies or somebody gets knocked out and takes a bunch of energies with them, we can, for a single fire energy, play this Nitro Tank GX and get 5 fire energies back from our discard pile and back onto the field. And heck, we can even distribute them any way we want, so they're not all on one Pokemon, unlike with Kiawe. So our Storm is going to be powered up very well with Turtonator to keep our opponents from powering us down enough that we might not be picking up those big hits. So this guy is here to basically keep us in the game, and of course his Shell Trap and Bright Flame are very good attacks as well. Shell Trap probably setting us up for Storm KOs as well, and Bright Flame, of course, potential to pick up knockouts all by itself. We're running 1 copy of Tapu Koko, just the promo Tapu Koko, mainly because it's easy for us to power up his Flying Flip and do spread damage, but his free retreat is just so attractive. We want somebody who can help our escape ropes and our Guzmas, and make sure that we've got the right Pokemon in the active slot, so if this guy gets switched up active, it's easy for us to pivot him back out with that free retreat. No surprise really why he's there. We're also running 1 Tapu Lele. Honestly, if I had additional copies of Tapu Lele, I'd probably be running 2 to 3 of them, but I don't, and not everybody does, so this is more of a budget version. It's obviously here just for its Wonder Tag ability. That's the main thing about it. That's why it's here. And like I say, if we had extras, we'd probably run it. But with 1 Tapu Lele and 4 Ultra Balls and the 3 Kiawes we're running anyway, that is 8 outs to a turn 1 Kiawe anyway. And statistically speaking, that means we should get one in our opening hand, one of those outs. In other words, we'll either get the Tapu Lele, we'll get one of the Kiawes, or we'll get one of our 4 Ultra Balls in our opening hand. So that should be enough. I mean, it's obviously not going to happen every single time, but you can't guarantee it, and that's decent enough odds that I think we can definitely work with it. So anyway, that's our Pokemon base, and for running a Stage 2 so heavily, we're only running 14 mods, which is not too shabby. We've got, speaking of getting support and getting things up consistently, we're running 4 copies of N, mainly because we don't want to discard our evolutions too early, so this is a nice draw supporter for us, and it's a good way to mess up our opponents if they take a lead, and yeah, you know what N is, you know what it does, you know why it's here, it's just so gosh darn good. And speaking of so gosh darn good, we're running 4 copies of Sycamore, basically the same reason. Be careful what you discard, but the draw power is especially useful on our second turn, just to make sure we get that Delphox up, because we really need to make sure we get it up and start swinging as early as possible. So that's definitely the plan there. We've got 3 Kiawe. That's not too much of a surprise, because we want to hit it turn 1. It powers us up. Later in the game, it's not nearly as attractive of a card, obviously, but you definitely want it in that first turn, and if not on the first turn, then definitely on that second turn. We've got 3 Guzma as well. Guzma, however you want to pronounce it. Probably goo, like bugs, gooey, I don't know. Guzma, anyway. Basically because we don't have Lysander, but that's okay. It doesn't matter that he forces us to switch, because sometimes that's a good thing. And after all, like if they try to stall us with, say, Guzmaing up something with a big retreat, like, say, Turtonator, when we don't have a lot of energies on it or whatever, we can retreat out. And, of course, thanks to our Tapu Koko, this guy never has a drawback, basically. So that's our supporter base. We're running 14, not too bad, and enough to make sure Garbodor doesn't get too happy on us, because we're not running too many items. And item-wise, we are running 4 Ultra Balls, just to make sure we can get the Delphoxes, or we can get Lele into our hand. That's mainly what those are for. We're opting for 2 Nest Balls. These are to make sure we've got Fennekin's on the bench, and it can also be a good way to get Ho-Oh and Turtonator. Always opt, since those things don't have to go to the hand, always make sure the Nest Balls are the ones that get those if you have to choose, but that should be pretty straightforward for you. You know. We've got 3 rare candies to try to get to our Delphoxes. Between the 3 candies and our 2 breaks in, we should be able to get into our Delphox pretty reliably. Obviously, our first Delphox, we want a rare candy into it, because that way we can attack on our second turn of the game, hopefully for very big damage. Speaking of very big damage, we're running 3 choice bands, because you know what, we may not always have enough energy on the board for an Oko, especially against some of these GXs that are well over 200 HP. So this helps push us the rest of the way, get that big damage in, and on some of our smaller attacks if we need to, like, say, Shell Trap or Ho-Oh's first attack. This obviously can get us a little bit more chip damage that can be important for knockouts later. And we also have Town Map, because keeping the gas going, especially finding our double colorless energies in this deck, is very crucial. So picking the right prizes is pretty nice for us. So as soon as we hit this, we can play it out and kind of hedge our chances for mid to late game to make sure we've got what we need to finish the job. We've got 2 Field Blowers here. Yeah, these can get rid of Fighting Fury Belts, but they can also do cool things like get rid of field spells for Tapu Koko, and they can turn off Garbodors if you need to get your Lele down or something like that. Lots of good uses for it. I mean, you know what this card does, and it can prevent more damage from things like Choice Band under circumstances and yada yada yada. So we've also got 2 escape ropes just to have a little bit more control over our field to make sure the wrong thing doesn't get stuck in our active slot for a turn or 2, because retreat costs are a little unpleasant in our deck and we don't want to discard energies if we don't have to. And we do run 1 rescue stretcher in here, and that's just to, say, pick up a Delphox out of your discard pile and evolve somebody on your bench right there like that. Out of this, I'd say, if anything, if you've got the extra Tapu Leles, if you've got a second or a third, honestly, you can probably drop these Nest Balls and turn them into Tapu Leles, and you'll probably be just fine. That's probably the easiest drop I can think of, but I definitely really like the Nest Balls in here. So it's not that they're bad, it's just I think Lele gives us that oomph of consistency, and that's probably the easiest card to drop. And our energy base is remarkably straightforward. We've got 4 double colorless energies because Psystorm wants all the energies ever forever, and this is 2 and not 1, and it likes to power up with colorless, so, well, yeah, frankly, duh. And we've got 5 and 10 fire energies. So we're running a 14 energy base, because if we ran more, we'd probably start having problems with it kind of clumping up on our hand. But remember, we're going to Kiawe 4 of these away really fast, so that's all you'll have to worry about drawing, so that's not too bad at all. 10 is a pretty good amount of energy to have in the deck, so that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And that is the deck. It is really cool that Delphox puts out so much damage. I've really wanted to play it for just the longest time. And you can certainly play variants with Delphox Break. I'm not a huge fan of Delphox Break in here because it's basically a stage 3, and I don't think the boosted HP is enough to really matter. But you're welcome to try if you like. I encourage you to play this deck at your local. I don't think you will be disappointed. It's just one more fun way to exploit Kiawe. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe, check out my channel for more cool videos like this, and I will see you next time.